Hello, Central New York, and hello, hockey fans all across the internet. And welcome to 315 Hockey Live. I'm your host, Scott Kimball, and we have got one heck of a show lined up for you today. But before I bring our guests in, I would like to bring in my co host. He is the founder of 315hockey.com, that is. He is Mr. Mike Vermitsky. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, Scott, not much. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. We got awesome guests, so how can we not be doing
Yes,
great?
we do.
That's right.
Very happy about our guests.
Absolutely. And right here across from me in the studio, I have got our producer. He is the Jimi Hendrix of the switchboard. He is Mr. Dave the Save Warner.
Yeah, I'll play some Jimi Hendrix. We'll get to that later. We'll do that in the commercial break.
Yeah, I've seen you do it before.
All right.
Well, we'll say that.
Little air guitar.
Yeah, that. All right, and now for our guests. Folks, we have got a Division I college hockey powerhouse right down the road here in Hamilton, New York. And I'll tell you something, we have got the head coach of that team, as well as one of the star defenders of the Colgate University Raiders women's hockey team. They're ranked number 6 in the nation. I want to bring in Coach Greg Fargo and Sydney Bard. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is a thrill because, like I said, you guys are a powerhouse. You really are. Just a heck of a season last year. We're looking forward to a heck of a season this year. Coach, I'm going to start off with you. So you were a goaltender in your college playing days at Elmira College, and you immediately got into coaching afterwards. So I guess the $1 million question here is, how did you get started?
Yeah, it's a good question. So as you said, I went to Elmira College, just down the road here, and played Division III hockey there. Had a really great experience. And one of the things that I guess drove me to Elmira in the first place was that they had this education major for me that I wanted to pursue. So just the opportunity to go there and really to be a starting goalie and have a chance to play on a really quality Division III team was something that was appealing. And then the fact that I knew I wanted to be a teacher in some way like that. I knew that was a passion of mine. After spending 4 years there and really getting a chance to see what my coaches did on a daily basis, I guess growing up, I really didn't know that coaching could be a path for me. But to see them come to the rink every day and try and build a team and help us grow as individuals, I mean, that was something for someone that knew they wanted to get into teaching that really spoke to me. So that was what I wanted to do. Now getting a job coming out of college was something different, and luckily I had reached out to a number of coaches in my senior year, trying to get my foot in the door in coaching. And Dave Smith, who was the head coach at RPI now, who was at Canisius College at the time, he was the one who really gave me my first opportunity, gave me a shot right out of college, and I served as a grad assistant for 2 years at Canisius. So truly, forever grateful for that opportunity. And Dave and I remain pretty close friends here today. So that's kind of how I got started. And, a quick, 16 years later, here we are. But it's been a lot of fun, and there's been a lot of great memories along the way.
Yeah, that's great. And it's funny, just before we went on the air, remember we were talking about technical difficulties? We had one with the camera. If you were watching, the screen went blank for me, which some people are very thrilled about. But anyways, so yeah, you've been Colgate since 2012, and like I said, you've built one heck of a program there. What are some of the success keys for you as far as what you've done down there in Colgate?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really point to one thing, to be honest, Scott. I mean, there's been a lot of growing as a program, since we got there. And, I think the first thing is that I've been able to really fortunate to have and hire good people and bring in great people to come and play for us. I think it starts and stops with the quality of individual that I've been able to surround myself with. It certainly has allowed me and us to kind of build this environment that I think a lot of people today aspire to be a part of, whether they're coming through the coaching ranks or as young players. I think Colgate now has become a destination for a lot of young women, and I just think a lot of it has to do with trying to create the right environment. And in that, I mean, where everybody can be kind of their best selves and have an opportunity to grow and get better. Um, and that's really what we've tried to do along the way. And I think, it hasn't always been perfect. I mean, even in the early years, there was a lot of seasons where things got worse before they got better. But I think one of the things and a good recipe for us has just been to really evaluate our work on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on an annual basis of, trying to look at like what's going really well that we want to continue doing and what's not working that maybe we need to stop and think about differently. And I think when you take that kind of approach in anything and you want to keep growing and you have good people around it and you really listen to them, that you make sure the best ideas in the room come to the surface and you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I think eventually you can build into something that you're aiming for. So it sounds really simple, but truthfully, that's what we've done, and that's what we continue to do as we look ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've done a heck of a job of putting one foot in front of the other. That's for sure. Mike, I know you have got a great question you got for the coach.
Yeah, it kind of ties into that. I was wondering what your recruiting process was like at Colgate. Are you traveling to watch players in person, or is it more video based? And are they reaching out to you? Are you going out and finding these players? How does that work?
Yeah, Mike, good question. I would say it's a little bit of both, really, and all of the above. We and I would say is first of all, like everyone's recruiting process is really different these days. And Sid could probably tell you her story, and every player on our team really has a different story of how they land in Division I hockey or and Division III or wherever it is. For us, we're on the road quite a bit. In women's hockey, I mean, we're on the road, especially in the summertime. Summer's a really big evaluation period for us. You have the national camps and the provincial camps up in Canada. And those are really great evaluation pieces for us because we get to see the best players playing the best players across the country. And so those are really valuable for us. And then really it's about taking a look at, what we have currently, what's graduating, what's coming down the pipeline, and really just trying to build a program where, all the players on our roster are aligned really. And we try and bring in the right people for our program that play the style of game that we want to play. I think that in itself can be a real competitive advantage. And so I would say, between the three coaches, Steph DeCoste, Chelsea Walkland, and myself, we're all really a part of that process to evaluate talent and then really just trying to bring in the right skill set and mindset and character into our program and just keep building on what we've already established.
That's really awesome. That is, and I got to tell you, I was reading your bio and I see you're a native of Kingston, Ontario. And I got to tell you something, Kingston, Ontario will always hold a place in my heart for the simple reason that when I was growing up, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, right? And we grew up here in upstate New York. There was no such thing as 24/7 news or anything like that. So to get your hockey news, you had to watch the nightly news or whatever, because SportsCenter was really in its infancy then too. And like the local channels around here didn't cover hockey too much. The CKWS out of Kingston, Ontario did. And I tuned into that every night because they always led with the Kingston Frontenacs and they went in depth in the NHL. And I just absolutely loved it. So I just wanted to tell you that.
That's great. Doug Jeffries, CKWS. He was a staple in my childhood growing up and watching the news every night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sydney, you are a senior you're an all-star on the ice. You're an academic all-star off of it. You're a local girl. You hail from New Hartford, New York. So tell us, how'd you get your hockey path to Colgate?
Yeah, it's kind of come a little full circle here, ending up at Colgate. It was never really a school that was like on my radar growing up. I think just because New Hartford, it's not really prominent girls programs around there. So I ended up going into boys hockey really young, grew up playing in the New Hartford Youth Association all the way until I think I was like maybe 10 or 11, went over to the Utica Coyotes back then. Now it's kind of a spinoff, Utica Comets. So yeah, we're talking years ago. Always played like up a level, playing boys, just never really experienced a lot of girls hockey besides spring and summer tournaments and stuff like that. So then Selects Academy at Bishop Kearney in Rochester ended up becoming a institution. So I went out there when I was 15, moved away from home, went there, boarded there, got my education, stuff like that. And then I ended up staying there for 2 years. And I went to Toronto actually for my senior year of high school, which was obviously a very cool experience for me to have, being away from home in a different country, different culture, stuff like that. I was living with a girl that was on my team, going to her school it was King's Christian Collegiate in Oakville. So I was there for my senior year. It was pretty rigorous academically, which obviously was awesome for preparing me for a school like Colgate. And then, yeah, I ended up coming to Colgate. I actually was supposed to come as a forward. I played forward my freshman year, and then probably, I would say in November, December of my freshman year, I ended up switching back to defense. So yeah, I've been like all over the place, traveled around. I think it was just because New Hartford, when I was growing up, didn't really have a lot of girls programs. You kind of had to look elsewhere, go to those boarding schools. But now obviously that's changed a little bit, seeing what it's like right now. So yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Did you get any Maple Leafs games when you were in Toronto?
What was that? Maple Leafs game?
Did you get any?
Yeah. So my billet parents took me to one game for my birthday against the Penguins. I'm a huge Penguins fan. So yeah.
Cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Verm, I know you got a question for her.
I do. I know that you were named to the ECAC All-Academic Team the last 2 seasons, and I was wondering how you balance all your academic responsibilities with all your hockey responsibilities.
Yeah, it definitely took a little bit of a learning curve when I was a freshman. I kind of struggled my freshman fall a little bit, just because Colgate throws a lot at you academically, but also requires a lot of athletic demands as well. So I think, honestly, just leaning on the people around you, I kind of figured that out a little bit too late in my freshman year. But I feel like Coach Fargo, all the coaches at Colgate, they kind of tell you right away that there's a support system here for you. Kind of lean on those people. We have academic advisors, we have liaisons, stuff like that are here to help you with the course load. And I feel like once you get in the swing of things, like you figure out your time management pretty well. When you have an extra like 15 minutes here or there, just doing some homework, you kind of figure out a routine, and it helps because all of your teammates are going through the same thing. So a lot of us like go and do study sessions at the library, or we like come and hang out at our like senior house and do homework. And, you kind of make it like a thing where all of you can kind of enjoy the stressors of school, and you go through that together. And honestly, that like brings you closer as well on and off the ice.
Oh, it's great to have a support system like that. But I tell you, you must have a full day every day. It's got to be like sun up to sundown.
Yeah, but like I said before, you go through it with some of your best friends, so they make it a whole lot easier to, go through that.
Sure, absolutely. So, Sydney, I mean, obviously you're a success all the way through. And so what are some advice you could give to a young hockey player trying to make it in the sport? And were there any players that you patterned your game after?
Yeah, I think for some advice, I would say, honestly, like my path, I feel like it's pretty similar to a lot of girls. They have to look elsewhere. So I guess like the cliche of like, be comfortable being uncomfortable, like finding those, I guess I was just like thrown into it because first I was playing boys hockey, and then I like had to travel away from home, lived away from home for a long time, then obviously went to a different country. So like not being afraid to kind of create a path for yourself that's going to help you in the end, even if it means making some sacrifices like during that journey. And then I would say also like a big thing for me, this kind of like a little bit off topic, but a huge thing I found about obviously like sustaining this for a long time and playing hockey is loving the game and like finding that love for the game. You hear that a lot from players, especially like this old. But I feel like because I grew up and I also played different sports and I was into golf and I played field hockey and stuff like that, you have a really good balance. And I think a lot of times parents these days kind of like force their kids into one path, I guess, and kind of get rid of all those like extracurriculars in the summer and stuff like that. But honestly, I think that's the reason why I still love hockey as much as I did when I started, is because I have like, I'll play, golf in the summer with my family or like go out with friends and whatever. So it's like, it gives you a good kind of refresher when you get back and you get excited to get back on the ice when, the fall rolls around again. And then I would say kind of like, is that Blue?
Sorry, my dog's barking. Talk about technical difficulties.
Hey, if he wants to come on the show too, that's fine.
Love that. Love that.
I've been barking back here the whole time.
Yeah. So I guess like someone modeling my game after, honestly, like I said, I love the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've been following them since I was young. My favorite player being Sidney Crosby, just because we have the same name. So that's kind of why I like drew to them, which is so silly thinking about it now. But he's just like such a creative player and very supportive to his teammates. Like obviously he racks up so many assists. And I honestly think that's something that I like try to take in for my game as well. Being that support system for my teammates, setting them up on the ice for trying to be like a playmaker for them, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say Sidney Crosby is a huge one just for his creativity and, dishing the puck every once in a while. So yeah, it's kind of like
I think you're definitely right there because Sidney Crosby is just one of those players. He makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
You could put a fire hydrant on Sidney Crosby's line, and that fire hydrant's going to score 20 goals. There's no doubt about it.
That's so true.
But you make a fantastic point that I don't think really gets talked about enough when you say that it's good to do other sports, because there are some that just focus on one sport year round, be it hockey, football, baseball. And I've always felt, and maybe Coach, you can speak to this, that it's actually good to have other sports in your background because it kind of gives you a chance to mentally reset as far as for the following season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with what Sydney's saying more. My kids are younger; they're 9 and 7, and I'm seeing it as a parent now. Like the pressures to do your sport year round. It's hard to escape, and I just think, I know my experience growing up, much like Sydney, was baseball in the summer and hockey in the winter and playing different school sports and high school sports along the way. I don't know about others, but I know when hockey season rolled around in August or September, I was fired up to play. And Sid talks about that passion, the love for the game. I can't emphasize how important it is to have that kind of internal drive, and for the player to want to be there, whatever it is. It could be gymnastics, soccer, piano. If that intrinsic motivation is there to keep pushing yourself and keep getting better and keep exploring, possibilities are endless. And truthfully, that's something that we look for in recruiting. And it's hard to measure it, but I still think if you ask the right questions and you dig a little bit, finding the players and the people that truly love what they do, and they do it because it comes from here, that makes a difference. Because like every day is hard. Days can be hard, and but I do think that's a big part of it. Part of just growing and getting better is having that intrinsic motivation.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head, Coach. There's no doubt about that. But I'll tell you something, both of you had quite a busy summer. Sydney, you represented Team USA in the Collegiate Series against Team Canada. And Coach, you participated in the Team Canada National Women's Program Selection Camp. So how was that for both of you?
Yeah, obviously super grateful for that opportunity to play with the best, against the best. And honestly, I learned a lot from that, playing in different roles than I usually would as somewhere on Colgate, but you learn about different things, different tendencies from people at that level. And I gained a lot of experience from seeing the best go to work and do what they do every day. And definitely took a whole lot of notes that I'll try to implement in my game for this upcoming season to help my team. But yeah, just super grateful for that. It was really cool to be up there in Calgary and get to sightsee and get to connect with people that I haven't really seen in a long time. Because you grow up going through those USA processes with girls that you play against in college that you don't really see a lot. So yeah, just reconnecting with them and going through that was cool.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if anything, being around people with such talent, for a couple weeks time, I mean, they're the best in the world at what they do. And so I know for me, it opened my eyes to just like what the standards look like now. And I think a real invaluable experience to be able to, be with some of the best coaches and the best players in the world, for a couple of weeks, learn from them, and then to bring that back to Colgate. And I think in a lot of ways it was an eye opener, really showcase some ways that we as a team can continue to grow. You're always, as a coach, you're always stealing ideas from everybody else. And so I did a lot of stealing and a lot of listening. And I certainly hope, like Sydney, that our team can benefit from some of those experiences that we both had, but also some of her teammates and other coaches as well. So anytime you can be, represent, your country, they're great experiences, but what you can learn there, it can go a long way, I think, in helping our group right here.
Oh, absolutely. And, like you said, I mean, sometimes it's getting out of like your own bubble, so to speak, and seeing how different things, are done is a great thing. But coming back home, we got a season starting off here. And, before we get into the season, there was an event out there in Hamilton that I know Mike wants to ask you about.
Yeah, your Hockey Night Hamilton event that was last night. I want to know how that went. If you had a good turnout or not, and how important it is to interact with your fans and your classmates.
Yeah, I actually wasn't personally there. Speaking of how rigorous Colgate is, I had a chemistry lab, so I wasn't able to attend. But I heard from my teammates that it was a really cool experience. It was a pretty good turnout. A lot of fans, a lot of people from Hamilton in the town coming to support, like they usually do for our games as well. And it was just cool to connect with the men's team, doing something together and kind of promoting the game and showing, I guess, people at Colgate and students that, girls hockey is pretty big here and that we wanted just to promote our game a little bit more, get it outreach a little bit more than we did. And I think we did that through the event last night. And I think it's going to be something that we continue to do, hopefully throughout either maybe in the spring or next year. And anything to promote the game.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a great event to kind of hype up the hockey season, both on the men's and the women's side here. And we had part of that was having a skills competition. We had co-ed teams, half the men's team, half the women's team, and they were split up, and we did some different skills events last night. I think probably one of the highlights was was the hardest shot, and I think we had a couple players that surprised some people in the stands. So I think we hit maybe the 85 mile an hour spot, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Some wide eyes there, but it was a great event, and I think I know for the players, a lot of smiles. The people that were in the stands to watch it had a great time. So hopefully it's something that we can continue to do and build upon moving forward.
That is awesome. It wasn't Happy Gilmore that hit the 85 miles an hour, by the way, was it? No. Okay.
No, we've got a couple good shooters out there.
Just kidding. So you guys are coming off a very impressive exhibition 3-0 win this Sunday against St. Lawrence. Sydney, you scored a goal.
I did somehow, yeah.
You guys got to be really happy with how that game turned out. So what'd you see there?
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, playing a great team like St. Lawrence to kind of kickstart the year where it doesn't really count, but so valuable, I think, for both teams. Coach Wells and I were laughing that, we get more out of that game than you do in 2 weeks of practice, just given the quality of opponent that we played, and knowing there'll be someone that we see a couple times throughout the year. And really, I think the biggest benefit is to get your new players into a college hockey, game, and allow them to get their feet wet for the first time with it. And I think we were all really encouraged by how they played, and just how the team was gelling overall, and some of the things that we've been working on to date showed themselves in the game. So all in all, it was a great event. I mean, winning was probably secondary, but certainly nice to be able to come out on top in that one.
Oh, absolutely. How about you, Sydney? What did you see?
Yeah, just like Coach Fargo said, I think it was a really nice experience to have for the freshmen to come in. You get that kind of shake the nerves off. You get a little bit a sense of what it's like to play at that pace, at that level, and kind of get your feet wet in a sense. But honestly, just seeing our team gel like that, and we put in work for a little less than a month, like 3 weeks before that, and finally seeing a reward. Your hard work pays off in that sense. Was so cool to see, and seeing players step up that, coming back from last year who didn't have much of a role, but now taking like a next step in their game, and seeing them elevate, and seeing the work that they put in throughout the summer it goes back to being energized. Like, I think that makes me want to up my game as well, and everyone around us, just kind of like building that culture that we have of every day you get a little bit better. But just seeing that, and obviously it paid off. We ended up getting the win, which is always nice, secondary for sure. But yeah, I think everyone is just super excited, and now just kind of like ready to go for this first half of the season that we have.
Oh, absolutely. And it's always great when you got somebody, when you guys are pushing each other, because that just takes it right to the next level. It really does. Mm-hmm. But the regular season kicks off this Saturday at home against your regional rival, the Syracuse Orange. Your ECAC championship banner is going to be revealed. You guys are ranked number 6 in the country, and you're number 1 in the ECAC. So there is a lot to like about this team. So tell me, what do you guys think are some of the strengths of your team?
You want to take it, Sid?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would say a big strength is that our goaltending, I think, is huge. We have 2 players that can really step up and play in big games. And just seeing them lean on each other too, and kind of elevate, like we talked about, elevate their games together. I think we're pretty stone cold back there. But I would say, honestly, I think we have a good returning group that's ready to kind of like bring in our new players and allow them to, make a name for themselves and let them play how they were. Like, they got recruited here for a reason. So just kind of letting them get comfortable. So I think, like if we can keep this thing going, stay connected, kind of do it for each other, I think sky's the limit for us.
Yeah, I would agree. Sid hit on a lot of good points there. I think the depth at goaltending is evident. We have two goalies that are number 1 goalies. But yet I truly think we have a lot of depth at every position when you look up and down the lineup. And for us, I think that's been a strength for the last few years. We have a lot of depth, and hopefully when we match up against anybody, they're going to have a tough time keeping up with that kind of depth that we have. And I think when you look at our roster, like truthfully, top to bottom, we're really a young team. But like Sid said, we have a lot of great returners that have a tremendous amount of experience. And I think truly our leadership this year has been fantastic. And Sid being one of the captains of our team, I think they really just kind of show the way every day. And that's in the gym, it's on the ice. And so it's easy for these new players that are coming in to see what it looks like and how things should be done. And I just think, the group that we have coming in that are looking to kind of cement themselves into a role, they've got really good mentors along the way. So excited to see what this team can do. I think The one thing I've been really impressed with is just the level of focus and just kind of the mindset of this group. I think sometimes when we get those labels, when you're, a top ranked team and people think you should be good, that pressure can build heavy. But this team is really focused on what we this year want to do times to elevate our play. And I think, again, when our leadership is kind of pulling the rope with the right mindset, it's easy for everybody else to kind of follow suit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks like you guys have got a fantastic leadership group in place. Like you said, Coach, I mean, you got 7 seniors, including Sid. So, I mean, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a really fantastic season for you guys.
Yeah, we're excited about it. That's for sure. Just can't wait for Saturday to get here and, drop the puck. And I think that's when everyone can relax and just go out and play and have some fun out there.
Absolutely. And that's right there at home at the class of 1965 arena there at Hamilton. 4:00 puck drop, right?
It is. Yep. Banner unveiling. And then, should be a good game against another local 315 opponent. So looking forward to that, kickstarting that rivalry once again.
Absolutely. So if you can, by all means, if you can get out there and support the Colgate women, because they're a powerhouse, folks. I'm telling you. And if for whatever reason you can't get out there, it will be on TV. ESPN Plus, I believe, is carrying it. So there's no excuse not to see this game in one way or another, for sure.
That's right.
All right. Well, listen, we thank both of you for your time. This has been fantastic. You guys are both great, and we wish you the best of luck on this upcoming season. We will certainly see you out the class of 1965 arena soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both, and we're looking forward to seeing you up in the rink soon.
Absolutely. We will see you very soon. All right. Well, that was Coach Greg Fargo and Sydney Bard of the Colgate Raiders women's hockey team. Vermi, this is going to be a great season coming up. I can't wait to get out there and to see some of those games.
Yeah, a lot of good hockey in the area. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and if you want the schedule for the Raiders, all you got to do is go to colgateathletics.com, and you can also follow them on Twitter at Colgate WIH, and that's the ad there, of course, right there on Twitter. So, like I said, get that schedule and get out there and support them. We're going to go take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up some odds and ends. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, and we are back. So, Mike, this weekend, the Colgate and Syracuse women's game is the only college game going on. The AHL hasn't started up quite yet, but the Utica Junior Comets are opening their season this weekend. For the schedule for all the levels, you can go to usphl.com. Mike, what is there? 4 levels, correct?
In Utica, we only have the Premier and the NCDC and a couple of youth teams. Yeah, there's an elite division and then the Premier NCDC, and I think it's an 18U.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because they're going to be one of those teams that are playing at the Nexus Center that we just talked about in week 1.
Yes, they are. All their home games should be there, as far as I know.
One of many, anyways. According to what Adam was saying a couple of weeks ago, that place is going to be packed. It's going to be super awesome. But anyways, going forward, we're going to be using this segment now that the season's starting up to let everybody know about the local games that are going on in our region all over the place. So once again, 315 Hockey Live and 315hockey.com are your go-to source for hockey news in Central New York. We also wanted to let everybody know that, you know what? youth sports need all the money they can get. And we here at 315hockey.com want to help get the word out about our local youth hockey fundraisers. So if you have a fundraiser and you want us to announce it here on the air, please send your info to info@315hockey.com, along with a graphic if you have one. And we will most certainly make sure to announce your fundraiser right here on the air. Just like those Utica Junior Comets are doing a Utica Coffee fundraiser. Just go to fundraisinguticacofferoasting.com and buy some Utica coffee while supporting a great cause. I tell you, that Utica coffee is fantastic. It really is. You want to talk about waking up in the morning? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, I remembered it this week, folks. It's the Martin Brodeur bobblehead. There it is, right there in the box. See? I told you I'd remember it one of these weeks. Anyways, that is our contest. We're giving that thing away. All you got to do is subscribe to this very YouTube channel, 315 Hockey Live, and like this post on the Facebook page. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're not going to be able to pull the graphic up.
I can do that.
You can? Oh, yeah. All right. Dave the Save. That's why I call him the Save right there.
Oh, which one?
Look at that. That one right there. Find that post on the Facebook page and like it. And it's important that you like that post because for DM purposes, direct message. So the winner is going to be announced right here on this show, October 4th. So exciting times. So
and
like
Dave,
I said,
you cannot win. Sorry.
I know. I'm like, he saw the black screen for a second with a spinning wheel. That was StreamYard, losing the signal for some reason.
Yeah, I was like,
that one
sunk.
wasn't me. That wasn't me.
We were sunk.
Yeah.
But no, and I'm curious to see how many different names Dave's going to put up there. But
well, I have so many fake accounts for that deal.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Exactly. But you know what, guys? I think that's all we got for this week. So, like I said, pay attention to 315hockey.com every day because we're going to be putting out news articles about hockey all over Central New York. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, 315 Hockey Live. So this is the show right here. Every week we're going to be talking about Central New York hockey. And of course, check us out on the socials on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all over the place. So once again, we want to thank Greg Fargo and Sydney Bard for coming on. For Mike Verminski, Dave the Save Warner, I'm Scott Kinville. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week on 315 Hockey Live.